So my background, bachelor's degree in Spanish from the University of Louisiana, Monroe. Master's degree from the University of South Carolina in Spanish language and culture. TESOL certification from TESOL International in San Jose, Costa Rica. It's my education background. I lived in Costa Rica for a while and taught English there, which is where I decided that I wanted to become a teacher at the university level. Active learning is the collaboration of students, the emphasis on students teaching themselves and taking responsibility for their learning and helping their peers. And the active learning idea, to me, engenders a sense of unity in the classroom. It promotes collaboration with the students. It reduces the students' affective filter to produce with the language. The mere setup reduces the affective filter for the students. By that, reduces the anxiety of students to try out these new structures. Because the space has no front, side, beginning, end, it's a circle type atmosphere where a student may be sitting with their back to you and therefore feel like they're not a part of the whole class. So sharing a particular item or trying out a new structure, they're more apt to do so when all eyes are not on them all the time, as has been the experience in a traditional classroom with rows of desks and the teacher in the center. And also the teacher is mobile everywhere, so the teacher can stop to engage a student one-on-one, can encourage a student that has finished an activity to help a student that is struggling, and can also stop to address the whole class if a student has a particular question that needs addressing for the entire class. I attended a talk from the Active Learning group with Alison Levine, one of the French professors, who taught a French cinema class in one of the active learning spaces. And from her talk, I was really interested in learning more about active learning and how I could get involved in teaching in the active learning classroom. And then immediately after, I talked to some of the people at the active learning meeting and found out that there was no language acquisition classes being taught in the active learning space. And then I went to speak with my coordinator, Emily Shida, and she helped me get into the active learning class for the very first time. Yeah, how the students were able to collaborate with one another all the time, and how she knew instinctively that the students were performing at a higher rate, even though the statistics did not show that. I was interested to know more about how the students are performing at a higher rate, and to see for myself that this is possible, and it will work great for the the second language acquisition pedagogy that we use, which closely mirrors the active learning pedagogy that I've been reading about. It's the perfect marriage of space technology, the pedagogy of the use of space, and the pedagogy for teaching that we employ for these lower level language acquisition classes. And I did not know that at the time, but seeing how there was an emphasis on collaboration, I thought it would be a great fit for the accelerated beginning Spanish class that I teach. The students respond extremely well. At first, it's different for them to be in this space that's not rows of desks. They sit in different places every single class period. They mingle and get to know the entire class throughout the semester. So at first it's a bit of a shock for them, but through surveys and evaluations that I've done, the students really enjoy the group work. They say that the collaboration and working as a group increase their proficiency in Spanish. Being able to work with different partners every day made them more comfortable to speak not only to the same person every day, which is normally what happens in the normal classroom. They have also emphasized how the use of technology reinforces and helps with their learning. Being able to just simply glance up and see instructions reinforced on the screen, or grammar models displayed with different colors. So the space also appeals to different learning styles, and the students have echoed that sentiment in evaluations that I've read and surveys that I've done to see how it does affect the students' participation. But the biggest thing, I think, it affects the students' participation in class and their willingness to try out new structures, which is paramount for the language, the Accelerated Beginning Spanish class. So from the very beginning of the semester, I stressed to the students that we are in class to practice. And although the students are very smart to be at the University of Virginia, and when it comes to their production of foreign language, they are actually like toddlers. And like toddlers, they're gonna make mistakes. So we practice, and it's okay for the students to make mistakes. And one of the things that I do for error correction is I do not correct every student error or every pronunciation error with the students. I will recast the correct answer, or if it's a particular thing that we're studying, I will illustrate it on the board or direct them to one of the PowerPoint slides. And so by that, the students are more willing to try out these new things and not afraid to make mistakes. And in fact, several students have said that on their evaluations, that they felt comfortable in the environment because they were able to make mistakes and not judged or corrected on every mistake. And also moving the students around, having them work with different people for every class period, they're more comfortable with speaking with different students and helping each other along the way. I think the active learning space has definitely had an impact on student learning. It's one of those things that it's hard to quantify. Attending Professor Levine's talk about it when she brought in a statistician and was unable to show statistically that advances had been made. She knew that the quality of work was better. And like Professor Levine's statement, my students are very prepared for the next level, and in fact have written me emails saying that this next class is just such a breeze for me. I feel like I put in a lot of groundwork in your class. Thanks for creating an environment where we had to speak every day, and thank you for staying on top of us to continuously speak in Spanish, because now things are going a lot better for me. So without bringing in my own statistician and trying to quantify test exams and things of that nature, I just know that the students do in fact achieve deeper learning, and the space contributes to that greatly. A 100% yes. Especially especially for the language acquisition classes, it's the perfect fit for the space and the collaboration and the self-responsibility of the students, etc. But having been a part of the active learning group, I have met and talked with people from multiple disciplines that are using the space for a variety of things, and all of them seem to say the same thing, that the space, having the practical use of the space when students are doing practical things and not just listening to lecture the entire time, does in fact increase the student productivity and learning. And so therefore I highly recommend the spaces and hope to see many more of the spaces on grounds at UVA in the coming semesters and years. I feel greatly supported in the spaces. The active learning group has done a wonderful job in making sure that my needs are met, or if I would like some tutorials or explanations on how to use some of the things. Like, for example, learned not too long ago that it's possible to broadcast from a pad or a laptop to particular monitors in the class, which works great for smaller group work. Students can collectively work on one assignment together instead of passing a document around on Google Docs. They can see it on the big screen and work on it in real time. For presentations or looking at certain things, students can, the ability to project has been great. But the group has supported me in other ways as well, as far as the support of meeting with other colleagues who are using the space, talking about ideas that they have had, and the interdisciplinary group shares ideas that often can be applied for multiple sections and courses and things of that nature. The space is very dynamic. I know it goes to the lesson and the type of teaching, but being able to be on the level with the students and being able to be right over their shoulder all the time, and also giving them their space to try out new things, and seeing them try out the new structures and seeing a student explain something to another student goes into the kind of the dynamic use of this space, and how it just increases collaboration and the responsibility of the student to not be the passive student to sit and receive 50 minutes worth of lecture from the instructor, to collectively work together to say, well, we have to figure this out, and he's here for support to help us, to guide us toward the answer, but it's up to us to show each other how to do it. And those types of qualities for me just echo the word dynamic. It's just a dynamic setup.